Let's get it started. Thanks everyone for making the time to be here with us. A special thank you to everyone that's involved organizing and participating in this session. We decided to host this session with the goal of provide more information about the MMR program to the industry and learn more about companies we don't interact with in the industry. We truly believe that when the industry does better, the program does better, and we also believe when the program does better, we provide a lot of value to the industry. And that was actually the foundation of the program. So the program was built on this idea of serving the industry when the industry was just starting to get a lot of data available through scanners, and the industry realized that there were not enough people with the skills to analyze the data. So I'd like to welcome everyone, and I'll hand it over to Erin.
Hi, everybody. I am so glad you could join us today. This session is put on by the MMR Advisory Board's Communications Committee, which I am the chair of. So thank you again for being here. This, as Marcus was saying, is all about bringing more companies and more professionals into the MMR world and hoping to connect you guys with opportunities to get involved and to just spread a little bit more awareness about that. So this is presentations all about how the MMR program is a graduate program, but also more than a graduate program and really a community for professionals in the insights industry. So I am happy to turn the program over to Brianna Blankhorst, but first wanted to thank Sherry and Emily for supporting this initiative by spreading the word and sharing those communications with the industry. So let me turn it over to Brianna.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Yes, happy to be here to share this information with you guys. There's a lot going on with the program as always, but this will be a great opportunity for us to give some highlights and some details around specific engagements. Before we jump in, I'll just give a brief introduction of myself. So I am Brianna Blankhorst. I graduated from the program in 2021, and I am now part of the Johnson & Johnson Vision organization, and I am a senior or a lead research analyst on that team for the global organization. So that's a little bit about my background that I'll just leave you with, and we'll go ahead and jump into the material here. Some exciting facts about the program. It's been around for over 45 years now. It's one of the most established in the industry or within this field. It's a specialized program. And with that history comes alumni. So there's over 140 and it's growing across that. And then we have 30 graduate students per year. So it averages around 30 per year. It is a specialized program and the classes are a little bit more intimate, but that's usually how many students there are per year. When it comes to the curriculum, you'll see here that we have a lot that they're exposed to in a year. There's a lot of tools and techniques that they get exposure to and hands-on experience with, especially when it comes to programming surveys, using AI to help with qualitative research. There's also a lot of coursework and material around understanding business, strategy, and fundamentals so that they understand the end-to-end impact they can make with the insights. And then also soft skills. So with these soft skills, they definitely learn how to engage in a more efficient and effective way as a professional, which is really important and something that is really strengthened through the board, the involvement of the board, and then also the corporate projects that happen throughout the year. So you'll learn more about those initiatives in the following slides, but we wanted to show a little bit about how these students enter into the industry. So when it comes to the types of industries, there's a great range of companies that hire from the program, all the way from automotive spanning to med tech and pharma. We have them listed here on the left. And then the specific teams, we wanted to just show the variety of teams that these graduates join or current alumni are on even. So that's going to be consumer insights teams, marketing intelligence teams, primary market research teams. And then job titles range. Sometimes we have marketing analysts, consumer analysts, managers, but It definitely ranges depending on where the student's focuses and interests are when they're, applying. But generally, these companies do fall into two buckets, which is the client versus supplier, and we have a healthy split among those two. You'll see at the top it's a 35-65 split. And if you have questions about how we define client versus supplier, you can reach out to us, but I'd assume you guys might be familiar with how we define those. And in the next slide, we actually have our board members. So there's about 35 board members currently, and very diverse, as you can see, even in the slide before, how the industries vary. But even on the board, we have a really healthy representation of different specialties and areas, including client side and supplier side. So there's lots of opportunity to join the board. There are some committees, 3 primary committees that are involved with the board. So one committee is more student skills focused, where they are bringing emerging trends, new information to the students, really bringing them up to date on what methods and approaches are new to the industry, which is great. There's also corporate outreach committee, which they do a lot of program building where they bring the MMR program into the industry and kind of bring the two worlds together. And then there's the alumni engagement, which is around communication, mentorship, and then also recruitment. But there's always room for more. And if you guys are interested in featuring your company within the board, you can definitely reach out to us. I know that Erin has let me know there's an opportunity to join soon, and you'll get the perks for career fair, whatnot, and invited to the next committee meeting. So definitely reach out with that interest. Awesome. So yeah, it's more than just a graduate program, and there are a lot of benefits that stretch beyond the immediate students. Of course, networking is a huge thing. And it's not just with the alumni, it's across the industry with professionals that have not even emerged with the program before. And the continuing education piece, this is really important because that's one of the primary efforts of the program, which is bringing new and up-to-date information to the professionals in the industry. And it's a great opportunity. I just also want to touch on the industry networking piece to meet people who are seasoned in their professions as well as new. So it's getting that perspective from new people entering into the industry, graduating from the program, and then also seasoned alumni or other individuals. When it comes to the industry contributions, I mean, the program is a huge advocate for just bringing resources and opportunities to the industry, as you can see. And we're going to get into more of that in the next few slides about how we have curated, or the program has curated, opportunities to really engage the program with the industry. With the next few slides, yeah, we're going to get into lower touch versus medium touch opportunities for you to engage with. Again, this is mostly geared towards people who maybe are not familiar with how to get engaged, but we do have at the bottom there, you'll see opportunities to refresh alumni on certain things that are going on in the program throughout the year. So first of all, I mean, if you haven't followed us on Instagram or LinkedIn, you should. We have social media platforms, which are great outlets for learning about what's going on. And we also have an email list. I'm sure if you haven't already, shared your email with us, you should. And then we have the Insights Night. So there are a few programs that happen throughout the year. This is a big one. It happens in February every year. And this is where speakers bring in new information to inform everybody about new approaches. Do we have some examples of that on the website of Erin?
So last year we had Simon Chadwick come and speak to us about strategic integration of insights functions into our client-side organizations. The year before, we had Christian Aloma come and speak to us about storytelling for insights. So we bring in speakers who can connect with people across the different levels of the insights industry. So, these broad overarching topics. So you get that education session, but then also time to network. And we look to partner with brands for these. So the first year we had it at Inspire Brands, last year Microsoft, and now this year we're going to be having it at Delta. So that's a great event every year. So I encourage you all to attend. And we also have watch parties in Chicago and potentially Cincinnati this year and virtual options. So a great opportunity for you all.
Thank you. Thank you for that plug. Yeah, because I know there's a lot of great stuff that comes out of that event. And then there's also the Future of Insight Summit, which is also a very popular event that happens once every 1 to 2 years. I think it's happening this next summer. It just happened this past summer, which was really great. It was at Microsoft. I got to attend, and of course, there were professionals that were in the alumni program, and then also outside the program. The Insights Association actually helps co-host this event. So it's a great opportunity to just get out there and network. With the next slide, this shows that we're not just looking for you to attend events, but there's opportunity for you to also speak at these events that we're talking about. So if there's a topic, a recent topic, something that inspires you, you're passionate about, we would love for you to approach us and let us know and see where we can maybe plug that and see what opportunities there are for you to share. And then there's also sponsoring our events always, we're welcoming of that sort of support and making sure we can make the event happen, because of course there's some feasibility and budget incorporated with each one of these. And then there's the career fair. So this is a great opportunity for you to come meet the students. It doesn't mean that you have to hire. It's just an opportunity to spend a full day, set up your booth, promote your company, but also understand more of what the skills are that the students are offering, what their interests are, and see if there is an opportunity there to maybe interview after that if you're interested. So it's a great opportunity. That's usually held in Atlanta, and we have a slide sharing more details on that later. Great. So this is going to highlight the corporate project. The corporate project is a really awesome opportunity to leverage the students as like a supplier or a partner. And so you would usually sign up to do this early summer. It would start when the students start around September, August. And then you have them for the full year. It's a group of students, and they will do like qualitative session in the first semester, quantitative section in the last semester. But of course, you can personalize that depending on your project. And it just gives a really great opportunity for you to maybe commission a piece of work that you wouldn't originally have been able to do with your company. So, and the students learn and you learn, and we're actually gonna kind of give some more information about what that looks like when we get into our panel discussion. So there's also becoming a board member. Becoming a board member, we talked about, it's medium touch commitment. There's 2 meetings that happen throughout the year, and then you also get perks joining. So I think the membership is $4,000 if you do decide to join. But then the career fair is waived when you want to set up for that. And then you get perks for setting up interviews, priority for getting access to the students and the talent. When it comes to the ultimate thing you can do for the program, I think that comes to hiring. And I think that that's just really kind of putting a stamp on how you're invested in the success of the industry and the program. And I think that it's just really awesome to see the companies come in and show the interest in and really want to grow these students, because they offer a lot. So that's a little bit on all the different ways to get engaged. And then we have a timeline here. So most immediate, the career fair, that's actually happening December 5th or December 2nd. It was 5th last year, I guess. And then interviewing. So interviewing goes from like January until April, sorry. And then graduation is in May. So then you'll see there are some events sprinkled in here through the bottom, and the Insights Night and the Future of Insight Summit. So should definitely keep these in mind, and we can send email updates, and of course we'll be posting about them as they approach. But just a really great way to get involved. And like I said, this program lasts for a year, so it starts in September, August, and then they finish up in May. This is the slide you should definitely take notes on if you're interested in being one of the final 2 companies to join us at the career fair. We have 2 spots available. It's going to be December 2nd at the campus, the UGA campus in Buckhead, I think is where it's usually. And it's a full day, with the students. It's great. And if you do become a part of the board, that would be waived. And then you would also get invited to one of those meetings, those main meetings that they have. So it would be a great introduction to joining the board. But if you guys have questions, again, just reach out or ask after the session. We will be sharing this meeting after as a recording too, for any of those of you who would love to share this with colleagues or members of a different function that might benefit from engaging with industry leaders or even the students in a corporate project, things like that. Definitely share this out because there's lots of opportunity. But yes, so I don't know, Erin, if you have any other items you wanted to touch on before we jump into the panel discussion.
I think we should go for it. I'd love to hear from Lindsay, Caroline, and Sarah.
Awesome. Okay, so we have some really amazing panelists joining us today, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Along with their name, I would love you guys to feature your company, the function you're a part of, your graduation year, and then touch on the key engagement opportunities or efforts that you're involved in with the program, if you could. Who wants to take it away?
I can start, sure. So my name is Caroline Prock. I am a graduate of the class of 2018, which feels like both yesterday and a long time ago. I am at Lilly, and I have been there since originally graduating from the program. Most of my career at Lilly was in market research until about 2 years ago. I kind of transitioned to the dark side, if you will. I kind of think of myself as the client side's client because I'm now in a marketing specific position, so making insights-based decisions rather than leading the insight generation, if you will. Super grateful for the transferable skills that I gained in the program that allowed me to make that transition. So dabbling with that. And then as far as my involvement, since graduating, it's kind of changed and grown over time, I would say. So because Lilly is a board company, I have been able to sort of be a delegate, if you will, and attend board meetings. I am one of the recruitment leads for Lilly each year. This past summer, I was able to co-host our summer social event here in Atlanta, which was super fun. I've also attended Future of Insight Summit sessions over the years. And I'm also a speaker as of, I guess it was this past January. So personal passion, I love to help people with interview best practices. So those are all the ways that I've kind of been involved so far.
Awesome. Thanks, Caroline.
I can go next. Lindsay Zaltman, so CEO and partner at Olson Zaltman, and I am a class of 2000 member. So it does not seem like just yesterday for me anymore. I wish it did. Only seems far away, but I've been a board member, I guess, for the past 10 years or so. And I've been involved since I graduated the program as well, though in various capacities before being a board member, but eventually realized that's the kind of the best way to get involved. And yeah, involved in the speaker series, attend all the board meetings, obviously. And then, yeah, the career fair is an awesome opportunity also. So we always participate in that, or almost always participate in that, I should say, too. So yeah, looking forward to being part of the panel here.
Great. Thanks, Lindsay.
And then I'm Sarah Montgomery. I'm Director of Human Insights at the Coca-Cola Company, and I currently oversee our hydration brand. So that's Smart Water, Vitamin Water, and Dasani. I've been here for 3 years. My graduation class is 2021. That sounds right. Just they all blend together after a while. So in my insights function, I get to sit on the board as an advisory board member, which has been really great since Coke is on the board, one of the founding members of the MMR program. So that's been a lot of fun to be able to do. I try to attend as many of the Insights Nights or Insights Association events as I can or that are close to me here in Atlanta. And then I've been very lucky to be able to sponsor a corporate research project all 3 years that I've been here at Coca-Cola. So that gives me a lot of opportunities to work with the students there. And then I will, Marcus, I promise, go do a speaker series at some point whenever I'm able to put some sort of presentation together.
Wonderful. I saw him give you a thumbs up. I also maybe should consider that. But you saying 2021 just made me realize I'm 2022. I did not graduate class of 2021. So just wanted to clarify that for everybody. I haven't been working at Johnson & Johnson as long as it feels I have been. But okay, so that's a great introduction to all three of your histories with the program. And I really want to get into some of your specific experiences around how you've gotten involved with the program, particularly the board and what that looks like, what that entails. And so if you guys, I don't know who would like to start with this, but maybe just sharing some details around how being a part of the board has impacted you personally, professionally, and then take it from there. Is there someone who might like to share how that experience has made an impact
Happy to
on them?
pick that off. And yes, I mean, obviously, I sort of kind of transitioned into the board about 10 years ago and get value out of it, more value out of it probably every year as I go. I think the best things about being part of that board, and aside from, student mentoring, things that we'll talk about in a bit, is just the dynamic of the board itself. And as the logo slide showed before, there's client side, there's supplier side, there's technology platforms, there's everything in there. There's small firms like mine to big firms out there. And I think one of the things I love best about the board, like wisdom and counsel, is it's kind of like a safe environment to kind of, you can let your cards down and talk about some of the issues going on. You don't, you can kind of be honest about like, yeah, we're struggling with that too, or this is an area that we're a little nervous to get into. How are you doing it? And everyone's just kind of open about it too. And it's advice that you're rarely able to get from the talented people on the board. It's advice you're rarely able to get, I think, in other spaces where people tend to kind of not want to show their cards or something like that. So I don't know, that's something I really love about the board.
I would echo that a lot. I'd say to add to that from a client side perspective, it's very easy at a company like Coca-Cola to get very into like beverage world, as we'll call it here, is like we just do beverage insights and getting very into like what's happening in beverages, what are beverage insights, what are all the trends in beverage world. And so the opportunity to engage with the advisory board and insights professionals from automotive and from pharmaceutical world or from all of these other different branches, from vendors or even just the professors, the various academic disciplines, is a really refreshing break from that and to figure out what's happening in insights kind of broadly, just across the spectrum. What are people experiencing? What are difficulties they're confronting with just recruiting respondents or different methodologies that they're working with, different vendors that they're talking to, trends that they're seeing with hiring or working with in a more overarching manner. And it kind of helps break you out of your client side role from my perspective. And that's been so refreshing and so rewarding that I can then bring that back to my role at Coca-Cola. And it, I think, kind of reinvigorates my work here and makes me a smarter, sharper researcher.
Love that. And I would add to it, especially now that I'm not in an insights position. So I think I'm one of like 21 alumni, GMMR alumni at Lilly. And there have been a handful of us that have kind of made the transition to marketing specific roles, which of course, in my mind, market research is marketing, personal opinion, but allowing opportunities to, or sort of taking the opportunities to stay involved with the board has allowed me to stay involved in insights, whereas, in my day-to-day, I'm not touching insights work the same way that I used to. And again, just seeing how the skills of the MMR program have transferred has been super valuable. Just continuing to learn from the industry and stay connected has been really important to me. And I also love that, and I alluded to this previously, but just the time commitment requirements, you can really make it what you want it to be. And I've appreciated that almost as I've gone a little bit further away from insights, I've become more involved in the board because I want to stay close and connected. So that would be my ad.
I really love that. I think it makes such sense saying like being a little bit removed from the industry or from the role that you were in previously and the impact it has on, just keeping you up to date and in the loop on what approaches there are, methods. And I think that even networking can give us that benefit, right? So getting involved in the networking events, but still specifically talking about the board, I did have a question about, you mentioned time commitment isn't as maybe strenuous or isn't as much as you would maybe think being a part of a board or the board. What committees are you guys a part of particularly? Would you like to share any relative experience on the certain committees you might be involved in? I wanted to just touch on that since we shared that in the presentation.
Sure. And you guys, Erin, you'll have to keep me honest on the exact title of the committee that I'm on, but I'm on the committee that helps with social events. And so I mentioned I did the co-hosting of the summer social event in Atlanta, which again is primarily a networking opportunity. I also just love that as a board company or a board member, you don't have to be an alumni. So it kind of allows for alum to stay connected, but more broadly than that, just insights professionals to stay connected. So Erin, I don't know if I got the name of the committee in there, but I'm on one of them, and it's been really fun to get involved.
Awesome. Okay, great. So, and then pivoting to networking. I know that there's so many different engagement opportunities to network. I wanted to probe and see how you guys feel about the opportunities in general, and then also maybe which specific networking events you like in particular.
I can start with that. I am not a natural networker at all. I try to avoid it at all costs. So I think any of the UGA ones are kind of a nice excuse for me to go and network because it kind of forces you into it. And there's sort of a natural, we have something in common in these environments. The advisory board is sort of a de facto networking opportunity for the reasons that we sort of already talked about. The Insights Nights are another great opportunity to start networking with people, both the students, getting to meet the new class of students and sort of see where they're coming from, what they're hoping to do after the program. It's always great to meet the new batch of students, especially if I'm working with them on a corporate project, like getting to meet them face to face is always super fun. And then whomever is there in person, a lot of the times you'll run into alumni, sometimes people from your own class, which is always great, but also just people from the industry. I've run into people that I work with, like vendors that I contract with in my day-to-day role happenstantially, which is always fun. Where you don't have to be like talking shop necessarily, but just kind of more socially, or you can just run into people who you wouldn't necessarily talk to, right? I work here at Coca-Cola. The Microsoft offices are right down the street from us. I don't socially connect with those people, except for when we have an Insights Night at the Microsoft offices, which is just like 15 minutes down the road from us. And it gives us an opportunity to connect just with other like Atlanta professionals, in my case, in the insights industry, which is just always a good opportunity to do something that I personally don't typically do.
Yeah, and I'd build on that too, like the larger event that's a once a year kind of a thing too, of just the Insight Summit that we mentioned earlier too. That's an awesome networking opportunity. And that's not exclusive to MMRs, although we make up probably half of the attendees there. And so it is a mini kind of reunion, often with other class members or just folks, you know, from the board. But that's just a great network and a great opportunity. I think it's always kind of like a little awe-inspiring to see all of the MMRs at that event and, you know, the successful positions they've all kind of grown into in their own companies too. So it's a neat opportunity too. So yeah, that's a great one. And then, as I mentioned before, the board meetings themselves, those that happen twice a year, are great networking opportunities also.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, when I think back to the Insight Summit, it was very inspiring just in general to hear all the topics, and it takes you outside of your role, even as an insights professional, to really think about what are some new things that I can bring to the company that I work for. And maybe we're doing things wrong or we could be more effective. So I think that's where it makes a huge impact to get involved and hear these recent topics or new approaches. So I love that. This is really great. Sarah, you mentioned corporate project, and I would love to get into that for the audience so they can get a little bit of context around what that looks like and the impact, at least it's made for you and your company. So do you mind sharing a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you did a great job kind of describing the broad contours of what it is, but I think the reason why we as a Coca-Cola company choose to engage and why my manager and our insights organization has continued to invest in the corporate project. I just got them on board the first time because we just had some additional money kicking around. I said, hey, why not do this whole thing? But after the first go around, it's been pretty easy to get people on board and to get more insights people to participate. And my pitch has kind of been twofold. The first is a pretty straightforward insights research. What's the value you're getting out of this? And straightforward straightforwardly, it's you are getting some really high quality research, like advanced methodologies. These could be typically qual quant. If you want to do that, you don't have to, but I like to give the students an opportunity to do practice on both a qualitative and a quantitative methodology. And you can get some really rigorous quantitative approaches like a segmentation, a max diff, a conjoint for pennies on the dollar of what you would maybe go and spend out on the marketplace. So it's a great opportunity to get some like pretty cheap research for a really, really good bang for your buck. It's also convenient in the sense that the time span of the corporate project is kind of long term. So it kicks off in the start of their fall semester and it ends right before they graduate, which you could pitch as an inconvenience, but I like to pitch it to them as, hey, this is an opportunity for you to work on a project that otherwise we would not touch, because so often we have to do projects that are, hey, I need this tomorrow. Hey, I need this in a month. This has to get done really fast. So this is a great excuse to look at something of what is something that we really would like to spend some time on, but we just don't have the money to invest in a project like that. So for example, the first project we did was a segmentation for the kids juice market. The kids juice team does not get a lot of money, and they were never going to be able to afford a segmentation, let alone the time dedicated to one. So this afforded us both the money and the time to dedicate to that project because it's so inexpensive and we had the time to stretch it out, where otherwise I wouldn't have devoted that time to a short-term research project. So that's from a business perspective. It's just such good quality research for what you're paying for it. From a personal perspective too, the way I've gotten more people to participate with me and partner with me on it, it gives you the opportunity to mentor students. It gives you the opportunity to participate on these like long-term, bigger picture, more interesting, complex methodology tasks, which I think shows some sense of initiative. So it's a great way for myself and other fellow researchers to put your hand up and say, I want to contribute to some kind of often like portfolio question or something that's going to contribute to a long-term problem that the company's been facing and they haven't really addressed yet because we haven't had the time or the budget to. So it's a really great way to kind of put yourself out there and shine a little bit in Insights world. And that's been really working for us. So it's been really great. And it's also just great opportunity to work with the students and you know, practice those mentorship muscles.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm a strong advocate of the corporate project. I loved it when I was part of the program. And then also with Johnson & Johnson Vision, we've done a couple of them ourselves. And it's just a great opportunity to get exposed to the skill sets of the students, understanding what they're learning and how they're applying it. And then we also have the professors and involved, which is always helpful too if they ever need to reach out to the professors. And I think the AYTM platform is what they use, so it's they have a lot of tools and resources, which is great when running surveys and research. So awesome. Okay, so I also really want to dive into what hiring looks like. And I know Caroline, Lindsay, you both have talked about hiring from the program, and it would be great to understand why you guys particularly use it as a resource for talent acquisition. What are the benefits, and then maybe even what that process looks like for you guys.
Sure. Lindsay, would you like to start and I can chime in?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Yeah, so I'd say also if there's like this recruiting alone and the hiring process here alone is worth the value of the board membership. I strongly believe that. And then all these other things we talked about, it's just, the cherry on top. But I think there's the talent pool here. It's 30 of the best young professionals coming out into the marketplace. And you saw that in the slide on the curriculum. So there's amazing curriculum that the board's in charge of kind of updating and making sure it's what meeting the market's demands and everything. But I look at like two kind of more intangible things coming out of that we love about the program. The first one is like in our industry, as you all probably know, like you kind of stumble into marketing research. Most people do. It's not like a job that people know about when they go off to school. It's usually, you don't realize it's there and then you kind of find yourself in it. And I think for some people, that's like this awesome moment where they realize that's what they want to do for the rest of their lives. But I think there's other people who do it for a couple years and then figure out that that's maybe not the kind of industry they want to be in or the space they want to be in. And what I love about the MMR, so I've hired people on both of those occasions before, and you see, they'll either stay there for a lifetime or they move on a couple years. What I've seen with the MMR program is you don't have that problem of losing people because they kind of decide it's not the industry for them. They've just devoted, first of all, they've found out about the industry already, and that's why they're going to the school. They've devoted a year of their lives to becoming masters in marketing research and doing that. And they're so excited to specifically go out and take that on as the career they've decided. So I love that about it. The first thing, you just know that these are people that want to be in that space and are like chomping at the bit to get going in it. The other thing I think beyond the curriculum that we see, and our company's 25-person company. I think we have six, well, I'll count myself, I guess, five MMRs that have hired over time. So and I'd say probably 2/3 of our recent hires are MMRs, and that'll probably become even more. It's such a
Wow.
great talent pool. But the biggest thing I think with that is the like soft skills. There's so much time spent on making you a polished business professional as well as a marketing research tactician. And you can see clearly, like, I wouldn't even have to know an MMR student interviewing with me versus a non-MMR student. There's just so much more polish and kind of savvy they have that comes with them because that's also being taught in the program. So that's part of the speaker series benefits, all those sort of things. But that right there also is something, and that's client engagement skills. You can put them in front of a client and feel comfortable that they're going to be able to navigate those conversations and all those sort of things. So there's just a huge, tremendous value there. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's see. Since I joined Lilly, which was 7+ years ago, we've hired at least one student every year since, and many prior to me joining Lilly as well. And I think that, like, my personal opinion is obviously with a degree of this caliber and the way they're getting sort of polished, as you said, Lindsay, we don't have to teach them the chops when they join the company. And we have a very large market research organization. We just need to teach them our way of doing it, right? Like at the company and about the therapeutic areas they'd be supporting, if you will. They are ready to deliver value on day one, like time and time and time again. And that is what I think, one of the reasons that keeps us coming back to hire is just, again, that caliber of talent and the skill set, right? Because we're a client-side company, but we're working with vendors that are developing conjoint studies for us, and these new hires are able to go in and still go through a survey with a fine-tooth comb, even though they're not on the supplier side, with the same skill that the one on the supplier side would be delivering as an MMR. So I think that has been of tremendous value. We've had, like I said, over 20 alums, a lot of whom have stayed at Lilly for a long time. And I would say, like, the MMRs in our market research organization are the ones that are like getting the promotions, winning the awards, really excelling and able to, again, deliver value on day one. So I think that is one of the key reasons that we continue to stay involved. And for us personally, I don't know, Bree, if you want to get into the process part, but we like to see them all. So anyone who's interested in interviewing with us, we will interview. And then obviously, make decisions from there. But there's just such an amazing set of experiences that these students come with, even though they're all graduating with the same degree. I think I mentioned this previously in the chat about the career fair, getting to understand kind of their individual interests, what brought them to the industry, where they want to go as far as career aspirations, what types of research they're interested in, are some of those pieces that we try to tease apart in our hiring process.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I know that not all of the grad students are recent grads. A lot of them actually come from professions or have experience working in some industry at one point, and they want to make that transition to market research focused roles. So they join the program. So very diverse set of students to choose from, which is amazing. Okay, so I wanted to close out on this one question with you all, asking, what would you recommend someone who has not actually graduated from the program, not a graduate of the MMR program, how would you encourage them to get involved? Their first engagement, what would you say would be the most impactful for them potentially?
No, I think that's a great idea. I mean, attend one of the social events we've been talking about. I think if you can participate in the speaker series, that's an awesome way. Because I think the thing that you really want to be a board member for the most. It kind of, no matter what aspect it is, it comes back to the students. And I think, whether it's because you want to hire them or because you're mentoring or whatever it is, comes back to them. And I love the speaker series. We do it every year. Come down and speak on a topic of interest to you, of, value to the students. You get to spend time with the students, just you and the 30 students, and they're eager to learn from you, talk with you. You start to see how talented they are, and how talented they are just speaks for the program. So that's one I'd do to get involved also. And
Amazing.
And I think it depends. Like if you're a student who wants to go to the program, my answer might differ versus if you're someone in the industry who wants
okay.
to be a board member. So just making that distinction there. But yeah, I would agree. I think delivering a seminar is a great way to get kind of that one-on-one, 30-on-1 opportunity, as well as any other social event that might be local to you.
Yeah, I think to the extent that you can, the social nights are a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water and get a sense for what we've been talking about. Because then most of the time, I mean, depending on what this social event is, I think oftentimes the students are involved with those. So it's a good chance to get a feeling for what the students are like and what the general attendees are like of even a typical advisory board meeting or an Insights Association event or something like that. So you can see the array of representation of the types of attendees that you'll get like that and what the conversations are like. And if you like that sort of thing, then you can choose to invest more time into that if you want. Those are a pretty low cost, low time, low effort way to dip your toe into it.
Awesome. Erin, what do you think? I'm curious.
I think going to Insights Night is a great way to get involved, to learn about the program, to meet the students, to do some continuing education, but really to network. So this year we're going to have it at Delta February 25th. We are currently looking for our speaker, so stay tuned on that. But I think that's a great way to get involved.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Sarah, Caroline, Lindsay, for participating in this panel discussion and sharing your insights, your experiences with the audience. And I know it's really great context for them to have in understanding the involvement that they can get involved in.
Can I turn this over to Marcus to share some final words?
Yes. No, thanks everybody. I know not everybody could stay for the entire time, so we're gonna be, making this video. We're gonna do some editing and make this video available and to share more with the Insights community. Also, there was a question from one of the people in the chat about the corporate project and what's the cost associated with that. So the cost for the project is $12,300 for the entire project. And we, as a program, through our partnerships that we have with AYTM, Rep Data, and OneQ, we can offer sample for the company. So we have done I have mentored the Coca-Cola projects that Sarah was mentioning, and we did segmentations with 1,000 participants coming from these panels. We even creating typing tools that then Sarah used her supplier to implement the typing tools for the segmentations we have done. So we were able to provide data. Of course, if you're doing some sort of research that you're using a very low incidence rate sample in the population, then there might be additional costs with that. With board membership, we have two levels, $4,000 and $10,000 memberships that we call the red and black levels. And the $10,000, the big difference is that you are also supporting a graduate assistantship, and a student will receive your company's name graduate assistantship. Other than that, it's a great community to be part of, to be connected through these events. And as Erin mentioned, the Insights Night might be your way to dip your toe in the water, see if you like it or not. It's a low time and low money commitment for that event. So we'd love to see all of you here. I don't know if Erin has some final words.
Yeah, Doug has a question here, and one last question. So he says he can't necessarily join the board, but wants to help through talks or mentoring. Where should he start?
Yeah, if you can send to that email, the terrymmr@uga.edu email. So a little bit of your bio and your the topics that you think you feel comfortable speaking to the students. Then we can see how you would fit in the speaker series. In terms of mentoring, I'd say like if you meet an MMR in one of these events, you should offer doing that. We do have a formal mentoring program, but that one is only for alumni. I am asked all the time from people like how I can get involved with that program. I say, I would not be a very popular program director if I gave a mentee to somebody who's not an alumni of the program, because we have many more mentors than mentees that apply every year. But informal mentoring can always happen.
So thank you all for joining us. Thank you to Lindsay, Sarah, and Caroline for participating in our panel discussion, and to Brianna for giving us the overview and sharing the different ways to get involved and moderating that panel. So we'd love to see you at the upcoming MMR Insights Night. If you are interested in joining the board, we're having a board meeting at the beginning of December. So if you'd like to join, you could join for that. And then we also have the upcoming career fair. So please reach out to this email on the screen if you have any more questions, or follow up with me, Brianna, or Marcus directly. We are on LinkedIn. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you at some events. Bye, guys. Yeah.